Drunken Master Paul here, and today we're back in the DMP arsenal. Yes, indeed. We're going to check out some of my favorite toys. This time we're going to look at the big ones, kids. We're going to look at my swords. Let's check them out. Right, so let's check out some of my favorite toys that I've just added to my collection over the years. Now, of course, you might have guessed that a lot of the stuff I have is Filipino because I do Filipino martial arts. But of course, I also have some Filipino beer. This is Red Horse beer. Now, it's a high percentage beer. This is 7% alcohol, which you would not expect in something that's as light and refreshing as this. Good stuff. Now, the Filipino swords in my collection are primarily Kris's. There's a wavy blade, which I've always loved, even before I was into arnis. Here's the first one, and you may recognize this one. It can look, strangely familiar to those of you that watch my channel a lot. This one may have been seen going through a whole lot of fruit not too long ago. But it's a Kris. It's got the horn handle. It's actually a horn. And steel blade. This one's seen little action, of course, so it's got a few pits on it, but it's exceptionally sharp. Really spiffy sheath with the Philippines right there, but it's cool, and I like this one a lot. The next Kris in the collection is this one, and I got this one in Cebu, actually at the Dos Patas Academy. And again, it's got that nice wavy blade. It's also very sharp, as my finger just tried to warn me about. No blood this time, okay? But it's very nice. It actually has a carved wooden handle, a little bit bigger. But the cool thing about this is it comes in this carved wooden sheath that's wrapped with string. Now, that's actually very traditional for Filipino swords. And the idea behind that is the wood wouldn't be glued together at all. It'd just be two pieces of wood sandwich. So if you had to draw really fast, you would just literally pull it and just go straight through the string. Red Horse. Okay, Kris number 3 is this one. Now this one is really interesting because I did not get this one in the Philippines. I actually got this one in San Francisco. This is a very solid Kris. It's very heavy. It's the heaviest one I have. But the cool thing is that it's got this, which is a kamagong handle. Kamagong is an ironwood out of the Philippines, and it's very cool. It's dark with the light brown graining through it, which I really like. Plus, it's got a little rust on it. It's got a little nastiness on there. It looks like this might have seen a little bit of action, when I'm not around. Maybe the swords play with themselves at night, and I can really relate to that. Okay, the fourth one in my collection is something pretty special. Now, I also got this in the Philippines. I got it in a market in Manila, and this is a very traditional Filipino Kris. It's got the wood scabbard with brass. It's kind of a ceremonial sword, but it's very cool. This is exceptionally pretty. It's supposedly an antique. It could really be an antique. It may not be an antique. I don't care. But it's very cool. The metalwork on it is really tight, and it's got brass workings right there. Plus the handle knob here is just work on is really cool. The scroll work in here is just really cool, and yeah, that's really cool. Have I said it's cool yet? It's one of the choice pieces in my collection. I have been asked many times, why the wavy blade? Why is the Kris so popular? And the reason is yes, it's a very pretty blade. However, there is a reason behind the waviness of the blade. Think about, there's two things, serration and the amount of force you can concentrate to a point. Because if you look at the blade, if you slash with it, it's going to be like a serrated blade going through a tomato. You get a nice and that'll go right through flesh. If you chop with it, especially against armor, all that power is concentrated right on these points instead of across a nice, a big piece of blade. And so you get more cutting power right at that point. And these kind of blades, if wielded correctly, would go through. Where a regular sword wouldn't. So yes, it both looks cool and there's a purpose behind it. Okay, so I also have some swords that I've acquired that are just interesting. They're not necessarily Filipino, go figure, but I really like them. And this is one, it was given to me by a friend, and it's, I don't even know where the hell this comes from. It could be Thai, it's some kind of a Southeast Asia, maybe Middle East kind of thing. It's hard to tell, but it's got some really, really wonderful scroll work along the handle and along the scabbard as well. Interesting thing about this is not only the shape of the blade, which is definitely a chopper. It's real heavy on this end and nice and thick. So this is designed to go through shit. But also look at this scroll work on the blade. It's really, really fabulous. It's actually etched in to the blade. I don't know if you can see it, but there's hash marks behind it, and then it might even be filled with silver. It's hard for me to tell. It's got a groove down this blade to lighten it. A lot of people think that's a blood groove. A blood groove, if you stick it in and it creates a vacuum and you can't pull it out. No, that's bullshit. You see those grooves specifically to lighten the blades. They would carve that out just to get the weight off of it, but it would stay strong because of the shape. So there's something you learned accidentally. But there you go. This is just a really, really spiffy piece of my collection. Now this one, this is more of a novelty blade or a fantasy blade that I got way back when. And it's just, I got it simply because it's badass. That's it. It looks like something Klingons would pack around, and it's a big honkin' chopper is what it is. But it's just cool. It's got a cord handle and this sort of Tai Chi-ish floaty wispy thing on the back. But it's cool. It's got some Chinese characters on the side there. I assume they're Chinese. It could be anything. Probably mean nothing. Probably gibberish. But again, very sharp and just one of the nastier things I've got in my collection. Okay, and finally we have this one. This is kind of the pride and joy of my collection. It is a sword that was actually made for me. This is a custom flamberge sword that was made for me by my good friend Leslie back in 1992 by a gentleman named Steelwolf, who is no longer making swords. This is an actual sword made by a modern day blacksmith. So proud of this. Now, what you can barely tell is that, well, first of all, it doesn't have an edge, okay? When it was made for me, I opted not to put an edge on it because at the time I hadn't been studying, and I figured that I would just like lop off something really important. Down here, we have the handguard is actually 2 dragon claws. I was born in the year of the dragon, I'm into dragons. Each of these scales is made individually and welded in place to form 2 dragon claws. The handle is ebony. In the end is also a steel pommel. I wanted steel, I didn't want a gold color, I wanted silver. And in the end, my birthstone, which is an amethyst. But this is really, like I said, this is the centerpiece of my collection. It's a great sword, and well, literally, it is a great sword. Ha! Hand and a half, bastard sword, or whatever you want to call it. But yeah, I would call it a total bastard sword because if I put an edge on this, it'd pretty much go through a truck.
So there you have it, some of the jewels of my sword collection. Everything from my Filipino swords, to my custom medieval flamberge sword, to just some stuff I like having around because it's cool. Thanks for watching, thanks for subscribing, and remember, swords don't kill people. Having sex with a red lady, that kills people. Cheers.
I am indeed recording. Thank you. Thanks for checking.
Should I be quiet?
That would be nice.
All right. Good luck with your taping.
Thank you. Jazz hands. So we have a letter from a viewer. It says, from little Timmy Bogart. Dear DMP, why the curvy blade? Is there a reason for that, or does it just look cool? And why do you wear a hat all the time? Is it because you're lumpy? Well, Timmy, it's none of your goddamn business.
So I should be quiet.
Yeah. Probably go to a costume party as Mr. Beasley, my English teacher. Don't get on the bus without it.
Okay, good luck with your recording.
Thank you.